Hello everyone, Bashar here. So as you can see, I did get started with my own temple after finally being able to reset it and working on it. Uh, the third video is up by now. So I want to talk to you about how you should get started. My beginner tips. There are a lot of very comprehensive guides out there, but I just wanted to share with you my take on it. If you want to get familiarized with the basics of the temple, Milky BK has some videos in it, some videos of it in which he explains, but still it's pretty darn complicated. And there is a fellow called Lyd, Lloyd, Lloyd without the O, right? He does, he does multiple temple runs in a row in which he builds up his temple from the scratch. Those are pretty useful as well. I want to share with you some document stuff because the thing is, that fellow edits his videos and I just can't do that, right? Imagine the video's length, right? You know, getting 16 and so on. So, I want to get into it. So there are a lot of layouts out there, which we will get to. Generally, what you want to ideally start with is the architect around here. You will see some layouts in which the architect is far back, pretty far from what city. That does take some doing. This kind of stuff is okay-ish, I suppose. Uh, this kind of architect positioning is okay. The ones that you see in which it's very far back, let me find those. Okay, so this is mine right now. Let me just override this. So for example, this one, right, very far back, right? Or this one, cute dog, very far back, actually same point. Milky's is a little bit more like this, right? More like mine. This is, just mine, rotated by 90 degrees counterclockwise. Counterclockwise, right? Yeah, it is rotated 90 degrees counterclockwise. And this is important, okay? If you start at the wrong location with the architect, then you will have to sacrifice more room. So the problem is the Russian tech, which I have a special video on, but I will also discuss it here very shortly. You can't get the Russian tech working and you have to sacrifice some more rooms, right? So the architect's position being bad either disrupts your chains or makes you use low value rooms that you normally wouldn't place, kind of both at the same time. So what is this? This is garbage in the middle. This garbage in the middle is literally that. It is garbage in the middle, and I'm using it to soak some of the destabilization. But you have to be careful with this, right? This is a little bit complicated. You have to, create your own temple here. Yeah, that's the reset button there. You definitely should use this, right? Especially if you are new. So it does give you the amount of destabilization. It's not, written in stone. It's so the idea is, from 0 to like 10, 15 rooms or something, you always get one room on destabilization, right? But after that, the chance of two destabilizing starts, you know, uh, starts existing, so to speak, right? So you could lose two rooms at one time, and it just keeps going on, and not including the starting position, the foyer, right? Uh, you have to have, I think, like 24 rooms, and then you are expected to lose two rooms at once. So that means you should use this from the get-go, but then you should let it die, which is what I'm gonna do pretty much about this point, right? The roads are being counted as well. The foyer is the only one that's not being counted. So let's take a look at this. 2 here, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 15 23, 25, right? So I'm barely gonna lose 2 rooms, most likely, and hopefully I will be able to protect this, which will protect my entire chain, and then these get stabilized. So guys, I'm sure you have heard of Garrison Spymaster, right? Those of you that are not even very interested in Temple because it's so intimidating, and I fully sympathize. I did also start playing 1.5 week in, so I have been playing for about a month as well, and I have been dodging it pretty hard. So the thing is, I went at it once, and I was so traumatized by it, right? I mean, it did something very nasty to me that you know I had to reset my tempo, right? So I did a bit of a mistake that I didn't quite understand, and yeah, it ruined me. So this setup is much better. There is no getting ruined. Maybe you'll be screwed a little, but you don't get ruined. So I keep the videos a little bit too long, so I don't want to tell that. But yeah, take my word for it that if you mess it up, you get screwed very hard. So the biggest thing that you want to dodge is making multiple connections inside your main chain. So for example, I shouldn't be doing stuff like putting armory garrison, etc. Because the thing is, the destabilization process goes like this. If you can start at from a certain point and arrive at the beginning, that means there is a chain there and everything on it is protected, right? But if you can go around the chain, right? So for example, let's say I have a garrison here, which is what I did precisely, right? So let me hold up a sec. Okay, so can I do it from memory? Let's try it. Well, I mean, the add-on is just insanely good, right? Okay, Spymaster. Now here comes the Russian tech. The thing is, okay, that's fine. So I can do Garrison after Spymaster, but I can't do Spymaster after Garrison because Spymasters can only be placed next to tier. Let me see. So they can be placed next to tier 2s, but the ones that are being upgraded by the thingy. So for example, when I do this, this is tier 2, but this is Legion Barracks, right? So this doesn't allow me to do so, right? So here comes the Russian tech, which is this. You put armory in the inner chamber, right? In the inner layer, right? And next to armory, we can put the armory, the garrison, which is upgraded in a different way, as you can tell from the color. And this orange garrison actually allows placing Spymaster next, right? So if I go by the chains here, take a look at this, guys. So I start from this garrison, right? I go here, 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 and this is a chain, which means this is susceptible to getting removed. Also, I can do this. That means these two are also susceptible to getting removed. But this one, it can't go, right? Why? Because if I take this away, the chain will be broken there and there will be no connection to the beginning, right? So this one is protected, but these three are all open to, destabilize. Obviously, this one is the valuable one, so we want to lock this and we want to let these go. But at this point, we only have 2 Spymasters and they wouldn't be very high level. So you could just not have it. So you have to try your luck. Or what you can do is you can, if you have it, you can put another garrison there. Now only these two are susceptible to destabilization. Why? Because if I take this away, the chain breaks, right? So this is protected by this one. And so then you wait for these to go, right? These are susceptible to destabilization and these aren't. Only the one in the front is. So you try to protect it with the medallion, the locking medallion, Huatalotli, and these get removed. And then we repeat the same thing, right? Go, Spymaster, these go away. And I did a specific video for this. So the corners are a little bit tricky. Okay. And this is, what I did, right? So that's the problem, right? I can't do the spy mastery. What we do here is though, we do this one, right? And I still can't do it, as you can see. What I do here is armory. Then I put a garrison here, and the garrison is the lovely, orange reddish garrison, which means I can do this, right? And then we wait for these to destabilize. And in here, guys, so corners are tricky. There is a lot open to destabilization. Why? Because I can do this, right? These are all open to destabilization, right? This one also is because I could just do this, right? So you protect this, right? This is the more rare room, right? This appears a little bit less frequently than the others, or much more less frequently, right? Depending on your experience. I did suffer because of these, and this is my final form, I think, right? That's where I'm at. And at this point, it's somewhat decent. It has finally become somewhat decent. So, yeah, that is about the. Nope. Nope. Where is the thing? There it is. So this is the Russian tech guys, the doing of the armory and garrison in the inside layer, then putting the spy master next, which allows us to effectively do AB, right? Because if you want to put an armory in there, right, you can make a loop of 5 or 6 or something like that. It's gonna be garrison, armory, garrison, commander. I did mess up the room names. Garrison, spy master, garrison, commander, garrison, spy master, something like that. It's much more inefficient, but of course, it's also not very painful. So about the room cards, armor is common, garrison is common, roads are very common. Smithy, I suppose, is relatively common, right? Commander is common. Dynamo is common-ish, maybe a little bit. Let's say uncommon, right? Golem works probably uncommon as well. I mean, this is probably my, selective perception, but spy masters are, I would say, somewhat rare. Thaumaturge, corruption chamber, those are pretty rare. Flesh surgeon, somewhat rare, I think. So the thing is, even if you are going to wait for these, you are going to be waiting for them much, much later on, in which you would already be making decent money from this place, so they are not that frustrating. But the spy masters are extremely frustrating, right? Because spy masters give us a high chance for the protective medallion, Waterlotli, right? This one. This is what allows us to move on. Because imagine you do the chain, right? And every time you try to move on, one gets removed. The only way that you can progress is getting 2 rooms on your main chain, which is very hard because you can't just put random rooms in there. So you are trying to follow some sort of order. So this is also a beautiful medallion. I love it. So you are trying to get a move on, right? So I want an armory here. I want a garrison here, and I want a spy master here, right? And I start and none of them are there, right? Or what I need is not there, or some of what I need is there and some of it isn't. So let's say, for example, I have the armory. I put the armory here, then I re-roll, and maybe I find garrison and spy master at the same time. So I would say, guys, that understanding how the stabilization works is pretty important because you can screw yourself very badly, which I did. What else do I have for you? You can do a very small chain here if you want. You have seen from the other guides out there, I'm sure. You do a thaumaturgy here and a corruption chamber next to it. Corruption chamber is the one that gives rares additional modifiers, which means they are going to be more challenging, which means more loot in Battle of Exile, right? So that is pretty good, but it will get constantly destabilized. I would definitely not suggest, protecting that chain. No, just utilize it if you can, because 6 spy masters in, I can get one lock most of the time, which is enough to protect my main chain. But that's about it, right? I mean, if I even if I get 2 or 3, I generally try to save them for future emergencies, right? I'm not swimming in them. And don't be shy with the upgrade ones. As you can probably tell from the color, the greenish hue means that I have used an upgrade on these. As you can see, I have used an upgrade on almost all of these. That's the one I didn't, right? Everything else is upgraded. That's the one I didn't. And yeah, I mean, if it does self upgrade, then I won't have to. But you get a lot of these, and you can use the upgrade medallions, which was called Kuipalatl, for making a little bit of money. So, for example, you get an altar of sacrifice, right? You sacrifice a room, it becomes level 2, and you slap the Kuipalatls on it, it becomes level 3. And when it's level 3, it will give you, I think it has a chance to give you the Vaal cultivation orb, which allows the double corruption. And the more important thing about that is it's about 10 divine, right? Mighty money. Even with a garbage temple, you can make that money, right? Altar of sacrifice shows up, and it levels up by sacrificing a room, and then you slap the upgrade on it. Yeah, have a chance at 10 divine. So I haven't done those rooms too many times, so I'm not absolutely certain if that 10 divine thing is always there. But it's a nice thing to try. Obviously, what we want is the main chain progressing. So, do I have any others? Yeah, I mean, this is basically, milk is hard, right? It could be rotated about 90 degrees, but doesn't really matter, right? As long as you do this. And the sweet spot to stop is about 10, 11 spy masters. That's what people do. I mean, at that point, you can successfully maintain like maybe 2 chains. You can definitely maintain your main chain. So the thing is, though, sometimes you are going to be constructing a little bit more complicated stuff, right? So I had this here. Imagine I had don't need to imagine. Let me open the thing. So no, yes, 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 yes. That was it. So guys, that was it for me, right? And at this time, there is a lot of openings for me, right? This one is also susceptible, right? Because I can just do this, right? This one, this one, this one, this one, this one. All of them were open to the stabilization. So that's when you need multiple lockings, right? So in order to not lose my chain, I did lock this garrison and this spy master at the same time. And of course, this could have still destabilized, but it didn't. And eventually, I was able to get rid of these. And sometimes you will get lucky, and you will get an altar of sacrifice in which you will sacrifice the annoying room. About somewhere over here, that happened to me. The room was just not going away, right? And I was not able to move on because I feared that it might loop, right? So this is what I mean by looping, right? The add-on is perfect. As you can see, it does also show you connections, which means you have messed up big time here, right? No, this is the only way to go about this, but if you do this normally, so for example, you are trying to build a second chain here, but that second chain connects, right? That's terrible, because for example, you do some stuff that connects here, that means some of your chain will be vulnerable to. So for example, let's say I have something that connects. Okay, so take a look at this, guys. This one is fine, this one is fine, these do, I think this is fine, right? This is still okay because I cannot skip these, right? If I do this as well, okay, this is now terrible, right? Because take a look at this, guys. I come all the way here. Now I can do this, which means all of these 3 are open to destabilization, right? Terrible. So, but this mistake is not costly, right? Because this is its own chain at this point, and this is not subject to destabilization. If I do this, it's still fine because, imagine I come here all the way, right? And I can't really bypass any of these on the main chain, right? Because I have to go here, and then I can't go around this one, then it's safe, right? But this is a lucky mistake. it could, as I said, this would go very, very bad, right? Never allow uh, more rooms to, connect, right? You just have your main chain, and that's it. And obviously, for Russian, you have to go that. By the way, one final thing, this video has gone too long. I do ramble. So where does the name Russian Tech come from? So this fine young fella that does so many guides for us called Milky BK actually learned it from a Russian streamer, and that's why he called it Russian Tech, and the name stuck. If you are curious about the Roman Tech, I think that refers to, back in the day, thousands of years ago, legionnaires for the Roman army were famous for not only fighting but also building roads, right? And the Roman tech involves some roles at the extreme end game. I am not sure if I will ever get there. Uh, I'm just telling you this, right? If you have a temple that is supposed to utilize Roman roads, you should be getting like 30, 40 divine from your temple every time you run it. So it's, supplement game. You make a road there because there is the secondary chain is golem smithy or something, and it does get stuck at some point. So you go there from the beginning. You allow the chain to move on, but those are extremely complicated stuff, right? You have to run the temple like 10 times maybe to get a move on because uh, they require you to get like two rooms at the same time, right? Because you make a uh, nice formation, right? But then everything connects and you have to have an altar of sacrifice at ready. So not only you need the room that you need to put in there, but you also have to have an altar of sacrifice at ready. An altar of sacrifice is one of the rarer rooms. It does not always appear, right? And imagine getting the other room that's somewhat more common alongside with it. It's not easy. So yeah, that's about it, guys. And as I keep moving on, I will share with you my progress. At this point, it most of the time yields one divine, right? I'm gonna do a run video as well, so you can see, and you can also take a look at my filters, because temple definitely requires you to update your filters. Never seems uber strict. Will not cut it, right? Because you will be swimming in alchemy and exalted and so on. You have to improve it. You can take a look at my own filters there if you want. Ghost QQ 3095 is my tag, so you could take a look at Temple V1. To summarize, it hides currency at the level of few exalted, right? One exalted, two exalted, three exalted, something like that. Those are hidden, right? But 4 or 5 exalted, it's there, right? Armor scraps are there, Arcanist etchers are there, perfect orb of augmentation, chaos orb, they are all there, right? But as I progress, there might come a time in which I will have to hide that too. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you in another video.